So, on the new episode of Disciples of Truth, we have Scott Page on of Wellness.
Wellness is a journey.
Wellness,
which I'm going to change.
Yeah.
Once we talk about it and how the fasting programs and stuff and the nutrition and all that's going, I'm going to actually look at an actual business type other than just wellness is a journey.
Yeah. So I'm glad I got that wrong then.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, there you go. You can have that. You can have that one.
No, it's all right. So what started you out on your fasting journey?
A football injury.
Yeah?
Yeah, a football injury. Believe it or not, it was, I think it's about 2.5 years ago now. It was, I hadn't played football for ages, literally ages. And I was cutting someone's hair at work and he asked me if I was playing football anymore because me and my mates had stopped about 2 years after COVID. We just started playing with each other instead of playing with a league in a five-a-side. And he turned around to me, he said, "Oh, you still playing a five-a-side though?" I was like, "No, I'm not playing any form of football whatsoever." And he's like, "Oh, you should come and sign for me." And I was like, "Geez, you're like 26 years old. I'm like 36. He was like, so? And I was like, "I don't think so." And he's going, "Look, come on, Pagey." And I thought, I said to him, "All right, you send me the form to sign on. I'll sign it, and then, I'll come and play." And I got him that night, and he sent me the form. I was like, bollocks. So I signed it, went and played. And I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but there's a post of where I was, that summer was when I started, and I was 13 stone. Yeah. And I hadn't worked out, I hadn't been training. You could see me with a bowl of ice cream.
I've seen photo, I showed my partner, and she went, "Wow, how you've transformed within that time frame." So
at that heaviness, and with obviously no leg muscles or whatsoever, because I weren't working out at all, I hadn't done anything for years, I went and played football, and in the 5th game, I literally turned, and I just heard a pop. And I couldn't move, couldn't bend it. My kids were there. I came off, someone subbed on, and I said to my manager, I was like, "This isn't good." Anyway, went home with the girls, sitting there with the ice on the knee and all sorts, and it started to swell up bad, like really bad. Couldn't bend it, couldn't weight bear. I was like, "I've done something bad here," to my wife, and she was like, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "I don't know, I'll just go to bed and see how I get on." And I don't really take painkillers. So I went to bed, elevated it, put the ice on it still, and then about 4 o'clock in the morning I woke up and I was in pain, bad pain. I couldn't wake the kids up because they had school. I know they didn't, so it was a Sunday. Couldn't wake the kids up because they were laying in, Tash was laying in, so I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to take myself to hospital. So I called a cab, went to the hospital. They all woke up, didn't know where I was. He told me that I'd done my meniscus, 2-week repair. I thought, that's all right, 2 weeks out. A week had gone by, I couldn't go to work, still couldn't put weight on it. I thought, no, this isn't right. Had an MRI, they turned and told me that I'd torn my meniscus. It was a grade 2. I had 2 options. I could have a operation, keyhole, or they would allow me to do physiotherapy and so on. So I went down the physiotherapy route and went home from the MRI. I was sitting there, it was still swollen, and I still had a bit of time off, and I watched. And if I ever see him, not that but you never know, the universe might do its thing, but the actor Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, he brought out a program called Limitless. Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And he touches on the subjects of fasting, cold water therapy. It was like 5 disciplines that he touched on, and it was brilliant. But the one that stuck out to me, as you can tell, was the fasting.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, and I turned around, and my leg was like literally the size of my thigh. I was like, my knee, sorry. And I went to my wife, "I'm not going to eat for 3 days." And she went, "What?" I went, "I'm not going to eat for 3 days." And she went, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, Chris Hemsworth and that doctor on the telly just turned around and said that it takes inflammation out of the body. My knee is driving me around the bend. I'm just going to stop eating for 3 days. And may God strike me down dead. After the 3rd day, my inflammation in my knee had completely gone." Don't get me wrong, I still had the injury and I still had the pain, but there wasn't the swelling of it. So then I started doing cold water therapy with hot water. So I'd literally be sitting in my bath and I'd have it freezing cold, and then once it's freezing cold, I'd turn it to hot, and then I'd let the bath get hot as I get out, get back in, and then I'd started moving it with the physio. Within 6 months, I was back playing competitive football.
Quality. And
they were really impressed. And this, I don't know if I should say this, but I won't say who he was or what hospital it was at. But the physiotherapist who gave me my physio when I was progressing in my physio with my meniscus tear, he turned around to me and goes, "Me and Sam," that's the other lady, I can say her name.
Yeah.
"Me and Sam are really, really impressed with your progression. how are you doing this? And I was like, well, all the people in here are treating this as their physio. They do it once a week with you, and they do their hour, they go home, and then they'll wait for the next. I said, I go home and I carry on every single day. I said, but I'm also doing the OMAD. And he was like, what's that? And I was like, the OMAD diet. He was like, 1 meal a day. And he was like, that's what you're doing? I said, yeah, I'm fasting. And he went to me, well, I can't tell you that fasting's right. He went, but I fast. I went, thank you very much. That'll do me. Carried on 6 months, back to football. And that is how my fasting whole journey started. And then I started doing prolonged ones and intermittent ones. And yeah, that's where I've gone with it.
It's so interesting as well once you're getting them results, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had it similar on wrist, but you've realised how much it cleans out of the body. I wanted to touch on, do you get like bad smells coming out as you're doing the prolonged fasts?
No, because I try my hardest not to eat bad food, if that makes sense. In the beginning, I suppose, my breath was pretty poor, really bad. But now with my prolonged fast, because 90% of the time, I'll be honest, I am, like I said to you before, Craig, I am a human being. I do indulge sometimes in some naughty stuff as regards to food, not alcohol. But I would... I suppose where I'm eating clean, not much. I'd like to experiment in the realms of doing a prolonged fast and then not wearing deodorant and seeing what happens with regards to that. Because I know that if you don't smell a BO, you know that your lymphatic system's quite clean. So I'd like to give that a go.
Because that's what I've noticed. When I was going to do I did 5 days, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And this post bobbed up at the same time, and it was like, don't stop the fast until the smells have stopped.
Oh, really?
And I thought that's quite interesting. It's a way of the body signalling.
Knowing that you're detoxed.
It's cleaning out.
That's quite
and then I heard one other day, it's like, I don't know if I could do that. It says don't shower with in between. I'm like, I smell off.
Oh, I don't think so.
But it says because your body's the biggest organ on your body.
Of course. The skin.
It absorbs it also when it's trying to clean it out. It's not having the chance to.
Right.
So there's loads of different interesting avenues to go down.
There's a lot to learn from it as well. I'm still learning. I've been doing it 2 years, 2.5 years, and I'm still learning different stuff. I've come across a great doctor. She is amazing. Her name's Dr. Mindy. She's more on the realms of the female side of fasting, but I like to listen to her because also if I get women ask me about fasting, at least I know then what I'm talking about, because I know a lot to do with males, but I'm learning on the aspect of women as well because of my wife also.
Well, same with my partner. She was interested and she was asking me certain questions. I said, I ain't got the answers. I said, watch that podcast. You won't watch it, the Mindy one. So I bought her the book. So she reads it time to time. But why is it so different from men and women?
It's just her hormones. The way we are. They have a lot more stress in their life than we do, even though we think we do. We do have a lot of stress. 100%. I'm not digging you out, any men that listen to this. But the women, with their cycles, with carrying children and looking after, they obviously have an unconditional love for a child as that child does to them because of the connection that they have.
Yes.
So for them, they have a lot more hormones going all over the show than a male does, and their hormones play a big part in how their cycle will go with how they go with their fast, from what I've learned from Dr. Mindy.
It's interesting stuff, isn't it?
It's like if a woman was to do a fast, Dr. Mindy turns around and says, try and do it at the end of your cycle. Or you can do it whilst you're obviously, a bit gross, but while you're obviously bleeding. But try not to do it a week before, because she says where your hormones are all over the show anyway, trying to stop your hormones from having any form of food, whether it be good or bad, is going to play havoc.
Because they get magnesium deficient and all that. So how do you approach going up to a fast? What's the best way?
God, so say for instance, like this week. So on Sunday, the 2nd of March, 2025, because I'll say that because we don't know how many podcasts you're going to do from this one. If anyone comes across it, I will be holding a community of fasters. There's 18 of us starting on the 2nd of March for 72 hours. I will FaceTime them, well, not FaceTime, but group time them, not FaceTime them all the night before, and tell them basically how the fast is going to go and so on. But what I will do, and I will do it tonight, is I will message them all and say, start to take your calorie intake down a little bit. Not massively, just enough that they're not going to feel the pinch too much. More so on the carbohydrate front. Because obviously after 18 hours you go into quite heavy keto and so on, well, you should. But yeah, with me personally, how I would approach a fast is I love a salt flush. There's something about me, I just like a big, nice shot of salt water with a lot of salt in it, and a bit of apple cider vinegar as well, because obviously for your gut microbiome. And then that's it, and then I'll just crack on. And then every morning I'll wake up, I'll do a salt water with a tiny bit of lemon, like fresh lemon, and apple cider vinegar in it. And then I'll try and go as long as I can before I have my black coffee. Yeah. And that would be me fasting until I decide that I'm going to break it.
Is it, have you done juice fasting as well?
No, I've never done that. No. The only problem with that, and I might be wrong here, but the whole purpose of eating fruit, for me personally, is to get the goodness from the fruit. Yep. If you're juicing the fruit, then surely you're only getting the fructose out of it, which is the sugar. Yeah. And then you're missing all the vital ingredients that you're getting from the pulp. Yep. So for me, I haven't done it. I'm not going to debunk it. I'm not going to say it's bad for you, but I'm just going to stay away from them probably forever if I can.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good approach. Do you regularly exercise during a fast then?
Yes, I go play football. I do my kettlebell workouts, because again, when you go into fasts, you switch over. You'll get to like day 2, maybe 3, depending on how much sugar you have in your body, and then you'll switch over to ketosis. So ketosis is where the mind switches the body over into eating the fat stores. And a lot of people think, you can't work out on a fast. Yeah, that's it. But they also think you can't work out on a fast, like you're going to eat all your muscle, like you're going to eat muscle. No. It goes in 3 stages. It goes from eating your carbs, which is your sugars. Then it goes into eating your fat cells, which is when you're in ketosis. And then if you're still prolonging your fast and exercising and you have done all your fat stores, which is very unlikely, it will then pull the amino acids out of your muscles to use as energy, and that's when you start getting muscle wastage and muscle loss, because you're not putting anything back in for it. That's why, which you're going to come to, when you break a fast, quite a lot of protein back into your body with zero carbohydrates, in my opinion.
See, when I did, I think it was last year, it was 6 days in anyway, and I was going to the gym, and it was like I'd tapped into this energy that it did the absolute opposite of what I thought it could do. Yeah. Because I'd heard people talk about it, but actually experiencing it, it's like a heightened energy. Yeah. It's like you'd had pre-workout.
Well, that's it. It's because the body is now finding the energy it needs from the body. Yeah. Instead of waiting for the fuel to come in from the source of a carbohydrate. So it's like, you get them people that would take a grenade bar, or that do a protein shake, whey protein, or all this sort of stuff, and that's the body, and that's what the body will use as energy. Yeah. And when you're ripping the muscle, because that's technically what you do when you work out, you want to replenish it with the right proteins, and the right proteins would be food. But also, if you're doing football and so on, and you're fasting, you need the energy, but you're not getting the energy from the carbohydrates. So it goes into the fat stores and it will burn them. And that's why you see a lot of footballers that are really, really ripped. I mean, like Mo Salah, he got absolutely shredded, 2 years ago? Yeah. Ronaldo's exactly the same, because they're eating higher proteins, higher fats, low carbohydrates. So they're using the right energy stores instead of just using carbohydrates as energy.
Yeah. What age would you recommend that someone starts fasting?
You see, this is a tough one now, because obviously as an adult, I think men, I might get this wrong, right? But I think men stop growing at about 21. Yeah. And I think women, I think it's about 23. I might be wrong. Women might be younger. I'm not sure. But I would always go on the basis of, depends on what you're fasting for as well. Like if you're fasting to lose weight, then I would say obviously when you stop growing. If you're fasting for chronic illness, you could look into the realms of it, I suppose, at 18 and stuff like that, but definitely not children. You can fast children for 24 hours if they've got a stomach bug or, any form of illness with regards to them throwing up or having a cold or whatever. But you got to watch out for the development of the child's hormones, organs, and so on. You don't want to deprive them of food because they need that to grow. So me personally, I wouldn't fast my children.
Yeah.
But when they've got sickness bug, they want to fast anyway, because then you're not interested in food when you're crapping and you're being sick. So
yeah.
So long as you got to look at the animals, they always fast when they're unwell.
That's the one that brings you to it. Even like if you're not well at all, your body doesn't want you to eat, so it is wanting to rejuvenate.
Yeah.
And that's what I did notice when I was playing five-a-side. The day after, or if I've done heavy workouts, I like to fast the day after, because I feel like the day after, the recovery time, like when the aching normally comes after you're 30 when you're playing football, it's hard. I felt that it was subsiding, and I like we'd normally play on the Wednesday, I'd not eat on the Thursday, and the Friday the achingness had gone. Yeah. But if I continue to eat throughout them hours, I'd tend to ache more. So I was just thinking, is that something that you'd promote, or if you've tried?
It'd be good for someone to try. I haven't tried it myself. Like I say, for me personally, my training's on a Tuesday. Whenever I start fast, I try and start on a Sunday night. So I have to start at the beginning of the week.
Yes.
Because you're in the right mindset at the beginning of the week, new start, new beginning, so on. Your journey begins at the beginning. So for me, if I do, whether I do, 24 hours, 3 days, 5 days, the 7 days like I've done, it was always start on a Sunday, and then I have training on a Tuesday, so I'd be fasted, and then obviously I'd be fasted on the Wednesday as well, and then I break it the Wednesday night. So most of the time I am fasted, but touch wood, and luckily enough, I don't really ache after football at the minute anyway, and I'm 38, so I'm doing all right, and I'm playing with like 26-year-olds. But I don't know what that. I suppose it's because, like I say, I'm just fueling myself correctly.
Yeah. So what's the aim of where's your targets to get for your own personal development with the fasting?
Just to keep it up, get as much fat off my body as I can, and live a healthy life with regard, because we don't need to eat all the time. That's the problem. We overindulge as human beings, like kids to adults it's just unacceptable how much we eat. So for me, and I sound like them people on Instagram, we overindulge, but it's the truth. And for me personally, I've got to a point now where I'm happy to have 1 to 2 meals a day and not have my breakfast. But if I have my breakfast, then I'll have, I might have my breakfast, then I'll have my lunch, then I'll miss my dinner. Like, as long as you're missing one and you're eating the right portions and the right food types, you can't go wrong. If you're fasting for 24 hours and then you go and stick a Macca's in your gob, you're doing yourself no favours whatsoever.
Yeah, well, you're just done doing the good work, aren't you?
That's it.
I'm also curious to know of you saying, because it's very much on my tongue as well, is by us all over consuming and how much food waste we actually have, how much would it impact our daily lives and change society if we could all be going back to like 1 meal a day, or to like just being less consumption? How much better would it be?
Unbelievable. The NHS would drop dramatically. People's diabetes would fall off the Richter scale. Like, it wouldn't even really be a thing. Chronic disease is massive based on the fact that no one eats correctly. No one eats with the time of their circadian rhythm, which we'll tap on in a minute. No one eats correctly with their breakfast. No one eats correctly with their dinner. It's the whole thing that's got lost is we've taken bits from other cultures and not done it the way the other culture has done. We've just done it in excess. Like, for instance, you talk to someone and they go, "Oh no, a red wine at night's fine. A red wine at night's fine. Like one glass of red wine." It's like you're missing the point of the red wine at night. The red wine at night's fine if you eat in a high carbohydrated meal because it stops the glucose spike. But what happens is no disrespect women, unless you're a bloke and you do it as well, they don't have a glass of red wine, they have a bottle of red wine. So you're not getting the benefits of it. Okay, yeah, your glucose spike isn't happening because with whatever you've done, but then you're poisoning your brain because you're doing it in excess, and that's the problem we have in society. We eat and drink in excess. It's just ridiculous.
It's all out of us convenience as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but the NHS would, if people stopped consuming too much food, And when you get people going, oh, I couldn't last an hour without food, couldn't do a day without food, like, I'll get well angry. It's a perception.
The mantras as well.
Exactly.
They are mantras.
Yeah,
they
mate.
don't even realise that they're casting.
No, and you don't even want to do it. That's the problem. The reason you couldn't last a day is you're not, as I say on my Instagram, if you're not in the right mindset, it's pointless trying. You have to be in the right mindset. And that's where I want to go. With me personally, I just want to get myself right, do my fasting, and just look after my kids, get them in the right mindset. My wife's in it as well. And then people go, how come you all look, well, we only eat 1 meal a day. You eat 1 meal a day? Well, yeah. That's what I want to get.
You've got a lot of people engaging with your content, and your community is growing as well. And
slowly,
people wanting to actually take on the fast.
Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, I went from, last month, February 2025, we've gone from 6, and now this fast coming up in the March the 2nd, 2025, is 18 people.
Yeah.
But like I said to you before we come on the podcast, is the fast doesn't have to be the 72 hours. It can be the 24, the 48, or the 72. You'll be put in a community of whatever you want to do, and then I will guide you through it as into how you feel, why you feel how you feel. But the one thing I'm glad I'm on your podcast to say is, to get this out to the masses, is every fast for every person is different, because you are an individual. You have a different genetic, you have a different DNA. Nothing is the same. You'll go to bed different, you'll work different, you'll sleep different, you'll drink different. There is no fast that is right for anybody, because everyone is different. You find your set and you're like, right, okay, fine. Because again, someone who is heavily intoxicated with sugar will get a proper headache and a come down within about, if they cut it out, I would probably say in about 5 to 6 hours, and that could last for hours.
Yeah.
But someone who hasn't got a lot of sugar might not even get a headache. But it's the same with people that drink a lot of caffeine, or people that have an addiction to cigarettes, because you're not really meant to smoke while you're fasting as well. So there's a lot of things and a lot of aspects in fasting that is going to change people different to other people. Someone will go, oh, how comes I'm not going through that? It's like, well, you don't eat how he eats, or sleep how she sleeps, or drink how they sleep. It's completely different to everyone.
It's got to be catered to you. And I think what's good about it is, if you're listening to your body as you're going through it, because it is in stillness, you're starting to realise what thoughts are coming up, how your body's reacting, and you're noticing where the disease within the body is.
Yeah, 100%. But again, someone might do a longevity fast. So say longevity from 24 to 10 days or whatever, to get rid of, a back pain, or a wrist pain, ankle pain, or neck pain, or a migraine, or whatever. And sometimes they might not subside, or they might not go at all. And that would be because the body isn't ready to attack that yet, because you've got more internal things going on. So never give up with the aspect of fasting because your wrist hasn't got better, or your back pain ain't gone. Because if you're fasting and you've gone over 24 hours and you're into the realms of autophagy, which is where the cells in the body go off to eat, as Wayne Inniker likes to say, the bad cells, the mutated cells in the body, it will go and eat them for energy. What that does is it takes it out the body, and that's where you'll start seeing results inside. And like I say, a sprained wrist, a bad ankle, a bad knee, my meniscus, it didn't repair my meniscus. It took the swelling out. I still had to do the work to get the meniscus repaired, but it helped whilst I was fasting, because there weren't so much toxicity, I can't say it,
toxicity.
in my body. So that's where I would go with it. So everyone's different, and like you say, you feel different parts at different times, and you might not get the result you want straight away, but just keep going.
Yeah. Do you believe then we can program it as cells, like as own cells, through mantras? Yeah,
of course. Like I said to you before we come on the podcast, I was listening to, what's his name? Dr. Joe
Dispenza.
That's it, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Had to Be Supernatural. It's like a 13-hour audio book, and I'm only 3 hours in. But he's teaching you how to meditate and do these certain breath works to get the energy from the base of your bone spine all the way up into your pineal gland. And I'm trying to do that with the realms of fasting to try and heal every cell in my body if I can. So I think fasting is probably spiritual in a way, and if you're spiritual now and you want to try the realms of fasting, they go hand in hand, like you said before. So I feel like you can probably program yourselves to rejuvenate in a way, and you can become one with your body whilst fasting. But it's also a mindset.
Do you practice yoga as well?
I don't practice.
No. I've seen the pose that you did, not the pose, the handstand.
Oh yeah. I do that sometimes. I wouldn't say I do yoga. I just try and keep myself a tiny bit mobile. I haven't got enough time in my life at the minute to get myself into a yoga studio as well. But I do try and stretch out most mornings. I do kettlebells like we spoke before after my ice bath and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I try and just keep myself as healthy as possible as a 38-year-old can.
Yeah. Well, we were on about this earlier as well, weren't we? Keeping it real is, we seem to be on these similar paths of trying to build this new life as well as having the old life. And then also throwing family in mix. It's tiring.
It's hard. It's just hard to try and get enough hours in a day. And then again, like I told you before we come on the podcast, you see these people on Instagram, and they go, oh, if you ain't got enough time in a day, you're not making enough time. It's like, mate, there isn't enough time in a day. Like, how am I meant to, as a 38-year-old man, a 38-year-old dad, a 38-year-old husband, a 38-year-old businessman, how am I meant to get 8 hours sleep, see my family, work out, cold plunge, fast, and do all the in-between? It's literally, and I will say this because even though nothing is impossible, it is impossible. So if you're listening to this podcast or you're seeing the clips on Instagram, don't beat yourself up that you're not like them shredded 30-year-old, 28-year-old men, because their life isn't like a normal 38, 40, 25, whatever. Their life isn't like a normal man. They're influencers.
It's the biggest stealer of joy, is comparison.
Yeah.
And I've noticed it. I said to you, I am posting in about 2 weeks, just because I felt like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just needed that time to feel back into me and not be comparing myself to everything.
Which is hard to do when you're on that.
It knocks you down, and I'm very much over-analytical of myself, and I'll knock myself down anyway, so I don't really need...
Yeah, I don't compare.
No.
I try my hardest not to. If it's something I want, I'll try my hardest to get it, but I won't look at someone else that's got something and think, I want to be like that. And I don't... Realistically, I don't think I ever have. I might look at someone who's more fortunate than me in certain aspects of stuff. But I never compare myself and go, oh God, I wish I had that. If I want it, I'll try my hardest to get it. If I can't get it, then it's out of my reach, and that's just the way it's meant to be. But like we said, the perception of Instagram with, people that have done longevity fast for 21 days, and the realisation of them living a normal life is very minimal. They've done 21-day water fast, and they've sat in their condo, mate, in the middle of Bali while they're chilling, or they've done a 21-day water fast and they haven't got a real job. That's out of order. They're an influencer, so they're getting paid to do stuff. Whereas a 21-day water fast, like I showed you on my Instagram, is very, very difficult for your average day man. But I am going to attempt it again.
You'll do it. I
will do it.
It's that's what I wanted to touch on. When you've been on prolonged fasts, it's something that I've noticed. I'll go down to 3 to 4 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And I'll have it, and the body's like, no, you're getting up now. But I think that's a really good way of maybe stepping a bit more into that for myself, because I know in summer I found it much easier as well to do that, and the hours that I want to build on creating this new life. I can have them. They're the midnight hours out there where you're 3 to 5, where you can get that extra 2 hours a week, or even if it's an hour a week. The problem that I have is obviously, as we've been told by nearly every doctor and scientist on the planet, that sleep is important, which it is. We know that it helps the cells rejuvenate even more. It gives everything else a rest. It gives our whole vessel a rest as such. But I don't know whether you felt it, but when I done my 7-day water fast, my 21-day attempt, but only lasted 7 days in the winter, I struggled with sleep badly. And I don't know whether that was because how I was disrupting my circadian rhythm. Because obviously, because I wasn't feeding the vessel, it was going, well, hold on a minute, what time of day is this? Because we haven't got any food now. Do you know what I mean? That's how we're meant to get
hunter-gatherers with sun up to sundown. So I was a bit skeptical on that front because it really did play. And my wife felt the same. She'd done 6 days, and she even said her sleep was disrupted. But again, is that because? Who knows? You
don't know. This is the beauty of it, though, isn't it? Until you start fucking around, you don't really find out. So if you can do it again, maybe like you said, summer, and then you can weigh it up against that, or is it just the body wanting to go? I'm just going to disrupt it because the flesh does want the food.
Of course it does. Of course it does, and it needs it. And then the thing is, it's when you hear going 21 days, the reason. The 21-day thing for me is one of the ones that I want to achieve. I want to, number one, I want to be part of the 21-day fast club. Not that there is, I'm inventing that myself.
Yeah.
And number two, because 21 days is rid of disease. You know, if there's anything lurking in me, I want to make sure that I've got rid of it 100%. Not saying there is, not saying there ain't. I don't know at the moment. I haven't got anything wrong with me as yet.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to fuel myself correctly. And that's why I am doing what I'm doing, trying to build myself up to the 21 days.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. I haven't got a lot of body fat.
Yeah.
So, I've got to watch the realms of that, because if I do start going into the amino acids of the muscle and getting muscle wastage, that's malnutrition, that's dangerous. So I will play it by ear again when I try the 21 day again in the summer. But I think the only reason that I failed in the winter was purely based on sun. Yeah. I'm convinced. I'm a massive sun worshipper. I look at the sun whenever it's out directly in my eyes. I try and get it all over my body, and it's just a mood booster. And it was grim when I'd done it.
Yeah. No. Well, I go through cold stages,
right?
Because that's also what it says. When you're going into prolonged fast, that's what that post had also said is. Know when to stop on your fast is when the body stops excreting smells, and also when your body started to regulate to a normal temperature, whereas mine can go really high or really low. You go for a couple of days, it'll go really low. Mine, I'll be freezing. I'll have to sleep fully clothed. It's
really,
yeah.
Okay.
So I know there's something within the body.
It's definitely doing something. Yeah,
it's cleaning out because it needs it's taking the energy up.
Yeah.
But I'm way on the sun gazing and stuff. It's definitely Egyptians used it, and it grows everything, doesn't it? And if you have a look at other animals, they all do it, and we're told to
put sunglasses
sun cream on.
Sun cream and sunglasses. No, thank you. Not on my watch. No. Yeah. So I like fasting. I've been doing it, and now I'm trying to teach it. I'm not a doctor, but I am doing a qualification in nutrition and health, so I can help people when they break the fast to show them how to break it as well as while they're fasting. Because that's the most important thing, is it's not so much doing the fast, it's not building up to the fast, it's breaking the fast is the most important thing you can do.
Educate me, because this is where I'm great at fasting. And Charlie, who I've just done a 4 cleanse with, he was saying Hippocrates said it best. He says anyone can fast. It's how you break the fast. And I says, that's where I'm at. It's like that 9 day. I could have gone further. It was just the family meal that we went for. But it's when it's like a bear getting into Walmart.
So how did you before I started?
Everything and anything.
Really?
Like it is like. It's like a beast.
In what respect? So let's say you've done 10 days, right? And you're now going to break your fast. What would be your first thing?
It'd be coconut yogurt with mangoes and like blueberries. It'd be really like fresh. But I think what I've maybe got to go to is mono meals and break it with one. Yeah,
and what you've just described yourself as breaking it with the coconut yogurt's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's fats. But by putting the fruit in, it's fructose, so you spike your glucose, which is, if you think about it, what your body's done for the past 10 days is literally been eating your fat. Yeah. So the best thing for you to break a fast with is high proteins, medium fats, and very, very low carbs. So you want to go into the realms of, looking at like an avocado, sauerkraut, maybe a tiny bit of liver, or a tiny bit of steak, because obviously your portions have got to be small.
Yeah.
Remember, you have your digestive system hasn't worked for 10 days. And the thing is as well, the best thing to basically kickstart your digestive system again is stuff that's very, very good for your microbiome, so your gut health.
Yeah.
And they have to be high in probiotic, because obviously by excreting the whole time and so on, and everything coming out of your gut, it's now empty. Yeah. If you fill it with the wrong foods, then basically you're just going to screw yourself up. And it's not, it wouldn't have been pointless doing, but you wouldn't get the greater benefits from it if you don't break it correctly.
Yeah. Well, that's where I feel like I could just eat for like 6 hours solid.
But you will, because that's the habit coming back in of food. It's nothing to do with the gut. The ghrelin hormone's risen because your brain's going, oh my God, I can eat today.
It's like porn. Yeah.
That's it. And then you're going, what can I eat? What can I eat?
Yeah, there's just fireworks going off up there.
Exactly. And then this is where the mindset comes into being able to control how you eat and what you eat and when you eat. And it's like they turn around and say roughly that for every day you eat is half an hour refeeding. And the problem that you have, if you were to do a longevity fast, say 10 days or more, and you break it with healthy food, but excessive healthy food, so a lot of it, you can put your digestive system in a state of refeeding syndrome, which can really muck up your digestion and also cause cardiac arrest.
Right.
Because it makes your blood pressure go so high so quick that your body starts pumping mad, and then basically. Yeah. Because I thought I had that once.
Did you?
Yeah. So when I done the 3-day fast with my knee, I hadn't researched it. It was just purely based on what Chris Hemsworth had put in his program. The third day I was like, I went to my wife. I was like, I have a chicken shish tonight. She went, "What?" I went, "I'm gonna have a chicken shish." And she went, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." So I had this chicken shish. I had the pitta and all of that. I said, that'll do, because you're only meant to break it with like 1 meal. And I was sitting there, and I know that's a lie. And I had some jalapeno poppers as well, with some cream cheese. And I was sitting there, and I was watching telly with her, and I was like, I feel like crap. She's like, I was like, yeah, I really feel ill. She's like, really? I said, yeah, I'm going to have to go to bed. Anyway, I went upstairs and went to bed, and my heart felt like it was going to come out of my chest. She came up, and I said, I don't feel good. I said, feel my heart. So she put her hand on my chest. She was like, Jesus, that's going something. It was like, I said, I feel really poorly. She's like, that's mental. You haven't eaten for 3 days and you feel bad after that meal. I was like, yeah. Laid there. Poor lady saying, right, got my phone out. I was like, can I break my meal with a chicken? Can I break my fast with a chicken shish? And it literally said, no poultry. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, symptoms. And it was like diarrhea, vomiting, sweats, and it was like, this is called refeeding syndrome and can cause cardiac arrest. And I just absolutely shit myself and stayed awake the whole night.
That's mental.
Yeah.
Because only recently I wouldn't say I've gone full vegetarian, but I won't eat a lot of meat, and I used to love the stuff. Yeah. So that saved me from having the cardiac arrest. Because the way that I've ate, like when I've done even the 5 day we did the 4-4-4 cleanse. Yeah. We did 4 days of juicing or your soups, then 4 days of enemas, and you also did they give you a bowel cleansing, like it were a binding agent that you'd have throughout the day, different scoops, and then you went on. I'd done the colonic, and then you did a 4-day water fast. But I think what I'd done is I'd washed everything out. Like, looking back at it, and I never looked at it this way, is I've washed all the bad stuff out, but I also washed all the minerals out. Yeah. So my body were wanting to get it all back in. But I went on a rampage for about 2 weeks, just constantly eating. Really? Yeah, it was just terrible. So basically, nearly I'd done everything. Yeah, just that, because what I was doing, I got into a good rhythm of what I could do at the gym. Yeah. Working out at home. And I was lifting, I was getting higher and higher, and after it did that, it depleted me. Even my workout, I couldn't. But that's a lesson for me to learn, and anyone that might be watching, is if you're going to do any of these cleanse, the cleanse alone, and you're doing the bowel cleanse, not just the fasting, maybe not do the workouts as well. Yeah. Because you're putting your body through an absolute iron. Which is crazy, because when I done the 3-day water fast last, and then I had the colonic after, which was the Saturday,
Yeah, what did I do? Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I went and had the clonic. And I said to her, can I go and play football? She was like, you're going to be really surprised. I was like, Rich, you're going to be blown away by how much. I was only meant to, I was meant to be sub because I was coming back from suspension and I was running the line and our left back got injured after 3 minutes and I had to jump on. I'd done 90 minutes, well, I say 90 minutes, 87 minutes on a completely empty stomach. And I tell you what, I could not get over the amount of energy I had. I could have played 2 games of football.
Yeah.
It was mental.
Cool.
And then I went home and I broke it with sauerkraut, avocado, rocket. What else did I have? I think I had an omelette.
Yeah.
The eggs, mushrooms, but like decent sized portion. Felt great.
How many days you'd led up fasting before you did the colonic?
3.
3.
Yeah, 3 days.
See, I think what I'd done is overdone it because it were 4 days enema as well as the bowel cleanse.
Yeah.
So it would just, I was asking my body to do all these things as well as work out, and I did the self-sabotage because I couldn't lift it all. I did the opposite of what I should have done. It's like I should have just rested, let myself rest, not do the
While you were
exercise
going
for a few
through the
days.
cleanse.
Eat well and break it, and I didn't. I just did.
Yeah. But
you learn, don't you?
Of course, but again, there's not enough information out there on the internet of regards to breaking it. There's information of how to do it. There's information of how you'd feel. But realistically, like I said to you before, every single person is different. I'm telling you the way that I break it.
Yeah.
But you could break it my way and feel like absolute crap. Yeah. So all I suggest is, and the one thing that I would suggest is, whether you want to break it with the way I break it or the way you break it or the way, find your way of breaking it. So what I would do is I'd do a 24-hour and then I would break it and then I'd do another 24-hour and I'd break it. And I'd break it in different ways and see how I feel in them certain ways before I do a long one. I'll be like, well, okay, I'm going to do 3 days now and I know that after I break it with that, I feel good. So you know where you stand. Whereas if you go straight to a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day, and then you break it with no experience whatsoever, you're going to go, well, I ain't doing one of them again because after that I felt like crap. Do you know what I mean? That's another good way of doing it, of experimenting with it.
Have you ever heard of the Jesus fast?
That is the 21-day fast, or 70?
It's
40 days.
40, but it's no food or water. But
again,
I think that's for it's for higher spiritual. I think I've read a lot on it, and I think it's more you're putting your trust into something.
I mean, Laba just turned around and said, if you're not drinking and you're not eating, but you're living an everyday normal dad, husband, work life. In all fairness, I understand where you're coming from with it, with the 21 day, but you're only going to get a certain amount of energy from your body, and then hopefully you do become enlightened, and the spirit's above if you believe in them, whatever, look after you. However, in the science world of looking at the way the human body works, I honestly think that you'd probably end up collapsing through dehydration and probably starvation because of you're going to try your hardest to get to the 40 days, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And I think what you're trying to do as well is you're trying to make it relatable for people who've got ailments already or disease in the body, and you're making it accessible to them.
That's all I want.
And it's like opening the door, and who knows where it'll go further down the line.
That's what I want.
I was just talking from one entry point to the extreme point.
Of course. I like the reason that I want to get to the 21-day club, the 21-day fast, 21-day fast class, is, like I say, there was something I'm sure I heard it or I read it. I might have read it. On the 17th day is the day that you break all emotion to food.
Wow.
All emotion. So there's something that happens in the human body. I read it on Reddit. There's something that happens to the human body on day 17 where we release our trauma with, like, our trauma connection with food.
Wow.
Some people get to 17 because apparently 17 is like tough. You get there, you go, nah, I've only got 4 more. Is it 4 more? 17, 18, 19, 20, 3 more days. 3 more days. Or You get there and you go, nah, this is intense. I can't do any more. Like, I'm done. But apparently all the people that I've read about that have done over 70 days to 21 have said that their breakthrough with food was next level, because we hold, like we spoke about before, we hold emotions with regards to food, with regards to alcohol, and all sorts of trauma and stuff with when we eat at what sort of time, and we subconsciously take a mental note of how it makes us feel at that time when we eat it.
Yep.
So if you can get to the 70th day and break them barriers of having that emotional attachment, technically you shouldn't, this is why I want to get to it, have any emotion to food whatsoever. So you might get to the point in your body where you're fueling because you just know you have to fuel with that food to make you work, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, it does. It makes perfect sense. Because that's where I'm at. There's definitely some emotional baggage with wanting food. It's my pleasure, like we would speak. Everyone's got the vice, and there's something attached to it. And I'm trying. That's what I've been trying to uncover for a couple of years now, and I will get to the bottom of it, because I think if you're seeking something, you'll definitely get there.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's just a matter of breaking that down. But that, I think, there's an actor from London. He did the 21 days as well, didn't he? But you lose a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
But he builds back up.
That's it.
You're just expelling all the bad stuff.
It's when you lose the muscle. So that's the body. So like we said before, you don't actually lose the muscle. You lose the what's the word? You lose the. How do I word this? How do I word this right? You won't lose the muscle mass, but you'll lose the amino acids in the muscle, which will make the muscles look smaller for energy. So then what we do is when we refeed after the 21 days, it's pretty much just pure protein to build the muscle up first, then the fats, then the carbs. And then we're basically doing exactly the same, but the other way around to the body. And then the body knows that it gets its energy from the fats we eat. The amino acids go back into our muscles, which technically will make you more shredded and look like a Greek god, if that's what you wanted, which is what we all want. But being 38 as a dad, it's very, very difficult. And unfortunately, the stuff we see online, not just Instagram, TikTok, or whatever you're on, it's hard. It's fucking hard, because you're looking at these people and you're thinking, you don't live a normal life. Like, there's no fucking way. Or they probably do, but they're neglecting something in their life to get to where they are. Or not neglecting, sorry, that's the wrong word. It wouldn't say it's being selfish, because it's not, but you're taking time out of certain aspects of your life to make that part happen. But I always think to myself, if you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, then what time are you going to bed? And if you've got children, are you going to bed at the same time as your kids? Like, are you missing time with your wife?
When I was doing it in summer, I was getting up at 3, 4.
Yeah.
And I'd be in bed for 9. But I've done what I needed to do in the day. I'm not bothered for staying up late and that. But that's it's each to their own. Isn't it?
Of course, but what about if your missus don't go to bed with you?
Oh, she does.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
I'd be like, how am I going to get my leg over? That's my first. My missus would be like, that's all you fucking think about. But no, it's not even that. It's like having the time to sit down with your wife and watch a program, or or do some coursework that I'm doing at the moment. I'm like, mate, I have not got. And maybe it's because there isn't enough sun out there at the moment that I'm feeling like that. Because like you see on my Instagram, if you've gone through it, I was getting up at 4:30 and going down the beach and doing the sea and all that. And then the winter come and I'm just like,
you've got to go with the seasons sometimes, and I very much want to attack life all the time. And when it came to this winter, I am just gonna let it calm down a bit. Just let it, but I was prepared this time. It was like I just needed to rest like winter does, not bowling into it. And I think with what you're saying, there's got to also, we are wanting these new lives. There's got to be some sacrifice there.
Of course.
And because we can't see the end goal, or we know where we kind of want to get.
Yeah.
Not the end destination, but because you're still sieving through it, and we can see people that have already got it, and it don't seem so attainable when there's them days when you're wanting to have the human experience, and all your old friends or your friends in general now are doing all the fun stuff you used to do, and you're like, where you've got your head stuck in books.
Yeah, got my head stuck in books. I'm just happy just to sit at home with my wife as well. Like, I love her company. She's my best mate. Like, she's genuinely my best friend. So I think with that, the shift's changed.
Do you think that's changing on a general scale at the moment?
Yeah.
The families seem to, there's a lot more togetherness.
Yeah.
Than there ever was. I mean, my dad still finds it alien. He's like, you're really hands-on with kids. I'm like, I want to be.
Yeah,
I want to know them.
I'm more now than ever. I'm happy to spend time with them. Not that I wasn't happy to spend time with them, but I was never really there. Like, there was a part when we just about to buy a house, and I weren't around really. I was too busy motocrossing. I was doing motocross weekends during the week. My wife was pretty much with them girls on her own.
Yeah.
And then we bought the house, and I had to sell my bike, and I knew that I'd never do it again. And at the time it was pretty crap, but now I'm like, no, I don't want to do it again. All I do now is I've got my camper van, and I just want to go away with the girls every weekend if I can. Well, after football, obviously. And I said that when the season finishes, we will go away nearly every weekend that we can to Devon, surf, stay on the beach. We're going away again to France in the summer. So that's what I want to do. Just want to spend more time with them. They're important. I mean, it's just, they're all important. So that's my goal. It's just to be more with them, and hopefully, rid myself of any disease that I have from what I've done in the past with being a DJ. It comes with that sort of stuff, and get all that out of my system, and try and live the longest life I can. My one goal. Everyone's meant to have a goal in their life, but my main goal that I want to get to, and I want to see more than anything, is I want to see my kids, because I've got 2 girls, walk down the aisle. That's what I want. Once I've done that, I'll be happy to disappear from this planet. But I need to, yeah. I'm not bothered about my grandkids. I'm not about anything like that. I just want to see my daughters walk down the aisle with a man that I'm happy that they're marrying with. Not that it makes a difference, because if I'm not. But there was a thing that it was on Instagram the other day. It was quality, and it turned around and said, "Would you be happy if your daughter married you?" And I thought, yeah, mate, because I love my wife to pieces. So if they do that, I'm sweet, and then I can go, because they'll look after their mum.
I think as so many people are caught in, they don't realise what foundations they're laying down for their sons or daughters to be partners. Because if you don't show that the love to your partner, spouse, whoever it may be, and your kids are watching, that's how I think it's normal. Yeah. I think it's absolutely normal to treat someone else that way. And I think that's why I see there's like people talking about New Earth, or whatever you want to call it, this big whole change on consciousness. Is people are waking up to the fact of the foundation of the family is where it all, it's the love from that starts to spill out into the world. It so does. I think we're going into a nice area of living, really. So the other thing, I know you were on about influencers and stuff, but I think again there's good, bad influences, but there's a lot more brought to your attention where we can look at people like yourself or people who's onto these fasting journeys. So it's night and day kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's more readily available to us now, isn't it?
Of course, a lot more.
A lot of people more to inspire us of different ways. Whereas before, going back 20 years, you'd have been only it's whatever on the programmes on the TV. Now we get to go and explore.
Yes. And give it to other people, of course. And then, like I always say, try and, if you can, filter through the shit. There's a lot of it on there. There's a lot of it, and a lot of it is contradicting. You'll hear, one person say this, one person say that, and then another person will be completely against it. And you're like, hold on a minute, like, what? It's like the whole seed oil thing that's come out now about how bad it is for you, how it makes people put weight on, it disrupts the hormones in the body,
lymphatic system.
Yeah, and it's in literally nearly everything. But I don't know if you've seen, but the government, definitely the government, have been putting people out there to say that seed oils are good. Why are people debunking seed oils? Well, I'll tell you why people are debunking seed oils, because they're a lubricant, and a lubricant should not be ingested by an adult. I don't care what you say, at all. There is no form of anything that is a lubricant that should be inhaled by an adult.
It's a
unless it's for
byproduct
something
as well,
else.
isn't it?
You are?
It's just a byproduct.
It's crap. It's for cars.
It's same as Vaseline.
It's just, and you're not going to eat that, are you? Do you know what I mean?
But it's the marketing genius of it.
Course.
It's like that just shows how good propaganda can be.
Yeah, that's why I don't believe in it. I don't watch the news. I literally live in my own little bubble. If I hear anything on the news channel, I turn it off. If it comes on my phone, I swipe it up. Like, I do not. I was doing something the other day, and chatting to someone, and we were talking, and he asked me what I thought about the plane crashes. I said, "You what?" And he went, the plane crash in America. And I don't know what you're talking about, mate. And he went to me, "You don't know what I'm talking about." I said, "I have no idea what the hell you're going on about." He went, the helicopter that crashed into the plane, Scott. And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "Don't watch the news." And he was like, "Seriously?" I said, "I could not tell you if someone had been murdered, if someone had died." I said, "The only time I ever know a celebrity dies is because every fucker on the planet goes, 'Oh, rest in peace, Gal Porter. Oh, rest in peace, da-da-da.' And that's the only reason I know." I said, "Other than that, I couldn't tell what was going on anymore because I do not care. Like, all I have to care about is getting the money, providing for my family, keeping a roof over our head, and putting food on the table. That is it. Everything else to me is irrelevant. I don't care."
It's just a distraction.
Yeah. So when we go back to the influencers, you're going to get good ones, that will know their stuff. You're going to get people, and I will put myself in the category that knows his stuff to an extent.
Yep.
And if there's something you don't believe is true what I say, have a look. Have a look, because I try my hardest to tell the truth and put the truth out there. Yeah. I try not to, I've seen that person's Instagram, I'll put it on mine. I'm not one of them people. I'll research it, and that's what I'm doing at the minute. I'm going through, like I said, a college course with nutrition and health. So them sort of people I always look at, and then the other people I'll look at them, and if they say something, I'll go online and I'll look it up, and then I'll listen to podcasts, and if the scientists in the podcast haven't said it, I'm like, well, that's talking crap.
Do you know a good indicator that I use is watch what they're selling?
Well, yeah,
because if you watch what they're selling and it's a lot of crap, they're pushing crap.
Yeah.
Like I think I seen a woman say it the other day. She does all home cooking. I think she lives on the canal boat. She's got a big following to be honest. But she says I could do with money. She says, but someone offered me $3,000 the other day for these pills like vitamin. And she went, "Oh, the bollocks." She went, "That's a kind of a way of saying selling your soul. You're selling a part of you when you know it doesn't work or you wouldn't use it, but you're giving money away for that." And you see it up and down board. I'll just stop watching people straight away. If I see them doing that, you already know that they're turning tide for money. So what? They'd quite easily be bought or sold to tell you.
Yeah.
Like where you're saying media is now coming out and they're saying seed oils are good. These are people who can be bought and sold.
Of course it is.
You want people who've got empathy for other
people.
human life.
Of course.
And actually care. And I'd never sell a product on the podcast that I wouldn't use on myself.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just bollocks.
That's it. And the other thing is, as well, it's like, with regards to the fasting and the community that I'm setting up, I don't charge. I can't charge people to not eat. Like, like you say, someone are probably watching me, well, what's he getting out of it? Nothing. I'm just trying to help people. That's all I want to do. Just stop eating.
Being of service.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're being of service.
Yeah, I just want to help. And then, because I will eventually be a qualified GMVQ level 2 nutrition and health coach, if you want to dive into the realms of how do you eat after and how do you maintain eating clean, well, then I'll draw you a program, and that's where the money will come in. But if you don't want that, you can still do the community fast for free, and I will still help you out.
It's beautiful that, because you're heading into this out of the goodness of your heart of wanting to help people.
Only because of what I've experienced myself.
Yeah.
From not eating and going, how can you honestly feel like that without food in your body? Because we're all told that you've got to eat 3 meals a day, your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and da-da-da-da-da. But when you really step back and you look at your thing, and then you listen to other podcasters that you believe in, and other doctors and scientists, and they turn around and go, well, when you look on the wall of, I don't know, ancient Sanskrips of all these humans, they're all ripped. You don't see one fat fucker on one of them walls, do you? You don't know, do you?
No. Yeah, well, there's only Fat Buddha, and I had to go watch it over there. I'm like, what were his gig? And they're like, they just did it as a bit of a player bar.
Well, that's it. But when you look at, you go back to like Tudor times, Henry VIII, fat. All of them. That's when the realms of overindulgence started creeping into society, because you had the hierarchy of these rich royals who were eating so much meat, wine, fruits, whenever they wanted, whenever they could, and then disease started setting in, and then it just, they found out that they could profit off of that, dropped it down to the lower tier like us, and then they were going, well, when they're getting fat really bad and diabetes and all of this, well, what we'll do is we'll create an antidote, in brackets, to help it. Metamorphin for people that are type 2 diabetic. Instead of just not eating and bringing your insulin resistance down and becoming more insulin sensitive, well, we'll just put on metamorphin. Then they can still eat what they want and they can still be fat fuckers. And that's the way it is. You go into a doctor's surgery now, and again, this is another reason with fasting and relationships between the brain and the gut and the heart, is you go into a doctor's surgery. I'm really tired, I'm getting home from work, I'm sitting on the sofa with my wife, and I'm just going to sleep. I've just got no energy. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, we'll take a blood test. Okay, they take a blood test. Oh, you're low in vitamin B12. All right. Well, what we can do is we can give you a course of vitamin B12 injections. Straight away, right? The one thing that I got annoyed at, because this happened to me, the one thing that, excuse my language, one thing that pissed me off more than anything with regards to that was, number one, when they got the result, the doctor didn't ask. The doctor didn't ask what I ate.
Yeah.
So the reason my B12 deficient is because I'm not eating any B12. Didn't ask what I'd done for a job. Anything. Just straight away wanted to punch the injections onto me. And I thought to myself, it's funny that. I bet there's a firm out there that owned the B12 injections for the NHS, that sell it to the NHS. That then so she went to me, so we can book you in. I went, don't book me in. She went, what do you want? I said, I'm not having them. She went, what? I went, I'm not paying I'm not going to take the money off the NHS for B12. I'm going to get this up myself. So anyway, I started eating prawns, more steaks, all that sort of stuff. Started to subside. Then my sister, she's into aesthetics, and she could get the B12s. So she started giving them to me anyway, because I could. But believe it or not, hasn't happened to me since. Yeah. I don't have the injections anymore for my sister, that's gone. But I still eat the steaks and so on. So what I'm trying to say is, the quickest thing for a pharmaceutical company is for you to become their customer, because someone cured as a customer lost. So by putting you on the metamorphin doesn't cure you, you're still going to have type 2 diabetes. By giving you the B12 injections doesn't mean, they haven't told you about your diet, so you're going to keep going back, because every time you feel tired, you're going to have them. It's the same with everything. What's that? Your dad or your mum died, you're feeling a bit depressed, take these tablets. Not go and speak to a therapist who's a complete stranger who will get you out of the funk you're in. That's what annoys me with the pharmaceutical industry.
Because it's a cartel.
Yeah.
It's a cartel, and it's all for convenience. They said the other day, if you look around at the two biggest profiting industries is war and health. It says it doesn't take much to know what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
I wanted to touch on the B12. Anything that's a supplement of B12, you got to be very careful, because when it goes in, it'll put B12 in, but it also because it's a modified molecule, it grabs the other good vitamins and sucks them out. So it leaves you depleted. It's impossible to do it without. You can't fuck about.
It's the same with coffee. People don't realise coffee's great. Like I've said to you before, I have a problem with my caramel macchiatos. But the problem is when we drink a lot of coffee, I've got to get this right. I know for a fact that the more coffee we drink, we take away our magnesium and our sodium in our body. So that's why I always try to have have a salt water first thing in the morning straight away, hydrate myself, wait as long as I can before I have my coffee, then I'll go on to just drinking like the water anyway. And then before I go to bed, I have salt water. Yeah. All the time. But I take magnesium tablets. I take, what's it called?
Mangoes are also swimming in it. Magnesium.
Are they?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I buy mangoes. I can't cut them.
Oh, can't you?
I struggle like fuck.
I'll show you before you go. It's easy. Once you know how to do it, it's the coolest fruit to cut as well.
Oh.
You cut it down either side and you score it like a hedgehog and it just pops out. Yeah, mate,
I don't think mine are ripe. But yeah, so mangoes, we do eat them. But I don't know if you see my Instagram, nearly every Saturday we'll have like that. What I put up every Saturday morning is what we have for our Saturday breakfast. So I'd have like avocado on sourdough with some bacon and some mushrooms and an egg. And then I have a fruit bowl with nuts and fruit, and that's all before I go football.
Yeah.
And there's some croissants on there for the kids. Obviously, you know, as long as you're out there with the sweet with savoury, cans.
Because there's there's two things I want to touch on. Because like when you're on about Henry VIII and it all going downhill there, I've seen the correspondence with like the American diet also coming over to England.
Yeah.
And also, as well as that's happening, NHS is going down pan. And I'd see the both being entangled with each other. And because their food's not great at all, is it? And you're looking what's happening, and it's not hard to see, is it?
No.
But I think what a lot of people are also saying is we don't grow our own food anymore, and when you grow your own food, like you'll see it with natural honey, is when they say if you eat it within 30 miles to you and you have hay fever, it'll cut that down.
Yeah.
I know it does because it's worked with me. But there's also said all food should be...
Yeah, but again, do you know what annoys me with that?
Go on.
Really, really, really frustrates the hell out of me. Is people think it's a quick fix. I can't say it.
Yeah.
I can't get my bloody words out. However, it's like everything in life. One spoonful of honey is not going to stop you from having hay fever. You have to build it up.
Yeah.
It's a tolerance. But people don't understand. They're like, well, I eat the natural honey around here. Don't do anything to me. Do you eat it every day? Yeah. Do you have it on toast? Yeah. Well, of course it ain't. Because bread isn't normal.
Yeah.
Just think about it. For two, you've got me going now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, it's
what,
cool.
what annoys me with people is don't be thick. If the honey is natural from the area that you live in, is going to stop you from getting hay fever. Putting it on bread, which again we know is an artificial product, unless you're getting it from the baker with the 3 ingredients, isn't going to work properly. Take a teaspoon a day, not just one day, and it's going to work. And eventually it will kick in and you'll go, my hay fever's gone. Yeah. But no, this is the thing with everything. It's the cure for something out in the wild is always a cure for something out in the wild. Like, if you're getting it from the wild, you cure it with the wild. Yeah. Facts.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if we were eating all naturally grown food from around us areas, that's what it's intended, because it's the circadian rhythm within it. Yep. So I've seen, like, I've said it before, when you go around Asda or whatever major supermarket, our supermarkets are so different to, like, in Spain. There's a tiny, because I remember going on holiday to Mallorca, and because I quit meat at the time and they were having a barbecue. I'm like, what can I have? I'm like, I want some halloumi. No one sells it. And I'm like, why doesn't anyone sell it? I'm like, because it's not native. It's in Greece. And I know the cogs got going, and I thought, we've just got every food that you could possibly think of. And being a foodie becomes an attachment of your personality, because it's always there. And if you're eating more natural, you haven't got the choice. Like,
and if you eat more natural and you eat whole foods, well, eventually you'll just know that you've had enough.
Yes.
That's the thing. You have a proper good meal, and then you have your dessert, which would be natural yogurt with honey and nuts and fruit and so on. And that'd be you done.
Yeah.
That's how it should work. And then you should be like, mate, I'm good here. Sit there on your sofa with your coffee, if you want a coffee, with your full fat milk, because again, red milk and green milk is absolute toilet. Blue's the best. And again, like another instance, why is it so difficult to get raw milk? Because it's so good for you. That's why.
Yes.
It's too good for you.
There's goat's milk as well. That's supposed to be really good. Well, we've got to have our daughter, because eczema flares up. She can't have cow milk. She's got to be the goat milk.
Right.
But it's so interesting.
Have you tried it with raw milk?
No, I haven't got. I need to get hold of that.
Try and get raw milk and see if she flares up with that. Then you'll know that she's not... See, this is the other thing that upsets me. People's children who have got eczema or a tolerance to dairy, could she have any cheese?
It's because it's can't even pasta or anything.
Can't have pasta cheese?
It's like she lights up like a Christmas tree, and we found it very, very hard to get round, because obviously it was when I got into all this and the health stuff, Zoe wasn't really on board, but then I was like, her body's lighting up to tell you it's not agreeing with what it's having. So
which means there will be an enzyme in her body that's stopping her body being able to take in dairy.
And when we took her to doctors, they were like, "Oh, just keep on feeding her." I was like, "How don't you know what it's doing on the inside?" And she went, "No, I went, you can't even cure what's on the outside." So
how old is she?
She's 2. But they're like, "Oh, just keep on." She went, "Don't completely cut it out." And I went, "I can kind of get behind that. Don't completely cut it out, because she brought the lightness to it. If she went to a kid's, if we cut it completely out, she goes to a kid's party when she's 4, and someone actually gives her something, and it, because she hadn't had it so long, it reacts and something really bad happens. I can kind of get on board with that. You're keeping the body fighting against it.
Yeah.
But it's a minefield.
But this is why I'm going down the roots of nutrition and stuff, because I think, again, you know, that's natural stuff. If your daughter was to have natural stuff, how's her body against that?
Yeah.
So there's clearly something in her body that's not meant to be in her body telling her that she shouldn't be having something that's natural. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I really struggle with it.
I mean, the other one with me as well is I've got hay fever. I don't think we're supposed to have hay fever. I don't think there's another animal that's... I think the only ones that who get allergic to stuff like that is anyone that's been vaccinated. And I don't know which ones it would be. I just find it weird. I find it really strange that that you are allergic to the natural earth. It don't.
Yeah, I agree. But then again, that would be the same aspect of the honey, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if you was a caveman and you was allergic to it, you'd be like, "Oh, go and eat the honey." You'd go, "Oh yeah, okay, sweet." And then you eat the honey. It's like, "Oh, you're cured. Oh, sweet, yeah." It's the main thing that's always stuck in my head with regards to Mother Earth and nature and a human being and the soul of the body and the vessel is, if you get stung by a stinging nettle, you rub a dock leaf on it to stop the sting and it cures it, then there's a cure for everything that nature provides for a human being with venom, anti-venom and so on. And that's the whole purpose of cancer, is it's man-made, and it's so true because it's on the rise. Like, it's catastrophic how high it is.
The look of where sunscreen starts and cancer starts, and it both.
Well, you look at what country's got the highest rate of skin cancer.
It'd be us in America, won't it?
It's Australia.
Is it?
Yeah. And theirs is one of the hottest countries, and they slap so much suntan lotion on themselves.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But it's because what we're taught.
Yeah.
You know, but you listen to Barbara O'Neill, who's been banned from Australia, her native country, because she's against the way they live. You sort of think to yourself, hold on a minute, it's something ain't quite right here. You're kicking a lady from your country, out your country, because she's against what you're promoting, i.e. suntan lotion. She's against suntan lotion. She's like, human beings are not meant to be in the sun for 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 hours a day. We're meant to be in the sun for 10 to 15, then 15 to 20, 20 to 30, and have interval breaks of the sun, because it is a UV and it will burn. Yeah. And the reason that you get skin cancers is because you burn, but you're not meant to burn. That's the sun. That's your body going, get out of the sun now, please. You're harming yourself.
Yeah. And then just rest.
And then people just pile factor 50 on and sit in it all day. Crazy.
But that's how it's promoted, and that's how it's sold.
Like everything on this planet. And that's, again, you know, why I go into the realm of fasting, why I don't wear suntan cream, why I don't wear sunglasses anymore. I look directly in the sun. You know, if I had my way, I wouldn't wear shoes, but it is what it is.
You never know. You never know where you might end up.
Yeah.
So what's the best advice you've ever been given?
The best advice I've ever been given? Oh, that's a good one. Look after yourself. Look after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after no one. So you are number one. Whether it's you're looking after your family members, you're looking after a group of people, you have to be top tier health before you can look after anybody else. So, like my dad always turned around and said to me, look after number one, then you can look after other people. Yeah. That's the one bit of advice I got given from my dad.
Yeah. Well, and no one else is turning up for you either.
No. No one shows up for you. You know, it's like the ice baths in the morning, which you see on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I hate them. They're freezing cold, and they bring no joy to my life at that time. But the minute I get out, it's like someone's put a rocket up me and I'm ready to take the world on. So that's why I do them, and that's the fight I have every morning. I get up and I'm like, I look out there at it and I think, nah, you're not going to beat me down. I'm going to come and do you. And I get there and I'm like, right, okay, let's do the breaths. And then I get in and I get it done. And for that 3 to 4 minutes, I'm just away with the fairies to just focus on not being freezing cold. And then I get out, I do my little workout with kettlebells outside in the cold, in my pants. So I'm warming my body up naturally. And then I go indoors.
What?
You show up for yourself, and that's what matters. Discipline.
Yes, and that's how do you instill that discipline?
I don't have a clue. I don't know, honestly. I swear to God, I just know that I've got to get it done. But I know what's happened to me now with regards to fasting and cold plunging is if I don't, God don't I know it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I don't do them, if I don't cold plunge, then I know I haven't cold plunged. I know I'm in a bad way. Like today, I haven't cold plunged today because I left at 6 o'clock, and I should have done it at 5:30. But the thought of waking everyone else up in my house, getting dressed and all that malarkey, I thought, right, I won't do it. But what I will do, and this is the God's honest truth, when I get home, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Because even though, and here's a fact for everyone that's listening or watching, is when you do a cold plunge, if you do it in the morning, it wakes you up. If you do it in the evening, it puts you to sleep. Fact.
Yeah.
Well, and same with shower.
Yeah.
But everyone seems to think if you have a cold shower before bed, you're going to freeze your tits off and stay awake all night. But it brings the temperature down.
Yeah. So I've noticed recently, I tend to do stuff too extreme, do it too hard, and then I burn out and fall off.
Right.
So I think it's more balance for me of finding that. And what's your thoughts on like intrusive thoughts of when you don't want to, and where do they come from, and what's your take on it?
I think I know for a fact if my wife reacted on half of her intrusive thoughts, she wouldn't be alive. Some of them are like driving along and opening the door she thinks about. Intrusive thoughts for me, I don't know. The only time I ever really get them, it's going to sound crazy, is when I used to cut hair.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be cutting someone's hair and I think, oh, imagine I just fucking shave their hair off now. Or someone next to me be like cutting hair and I'd be like, I just want to shout out, see you next Tuesday really loud. Like, that's the intrusive thoughts I get. Yeah. With regards to anything else, or maybe I'll be, I'll cut someone's hair and I'll give them a fresh skin fade and I just want to go, just slap them around the back of the head. I wouldn't do it, but I do get them sort of stuff. But most of the time I speak what I think. Yeah. And it doesn't get me in trouble, but sometimes it hurts people, and I don't mean to do it like that. Like I could be sitting around, and I'll probably say I get it from my granddad. My dad says I get it from my granddad all the time, but I'll be sitting around someone's house, and then when I've had enough, I'm like, right, should we go? Like instead of going like, should we leave in a minute? I'm like, should we go? Yeah. Oh, we're going to go now. And everyone's like, oh, all right, see you later. I'm like, yeah. I did it. I did it a couple of years ago. I was down the pub with the boys watching Man City Arsenal, and I'm an Arsenal fan. And I didn't even let it get to the second half. I went, see you later, boys. And I went, yeah, fuck this, I'm done. And I'm like, oh, see you later, Paige. I went, yeah, bye. Mrs. like, I'm on my own. It's rubbish. And that's my thoughts. Yeah, if I want to do it, I'll do it. Like,
there's no wrong with that.
No, as long as it ain't harmful to anyone or myself, then. And that's another thing. I always say, like, do whatever you want, just don't hurt anybody. So I listened to Matthew McConaughey. And he turned around, and how I've been implementing a lot of my stuff with my customers and with people on the fast and everything and life in general is red, amber, green. Have you heard of that?
I heard you say it other day, but I didn't understand.
It is unbelievable. So you're going to get like, something's going to happen in your life which is a red light. And it can be pretty catastrophic to the point of, you lose your house, your mum, your dad, your wife, your kid, you crash your car. But the red light's going to be catastrophic to you. Just because it's not catastrophic to them doesn't mean it can't be to you. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bad time in your life. Yeah. And then all of a sudden from the red light you get the amber. Things start to pick up. Then you get the green. So you're in the green area. But what happens is you don't know when you're there, right? And then what happens is you get to a point that you're there and you go, oh my God, that was the point of the red light. That was the red light. Because you don't know what the red light is. you don't know what the green light is or the amber light is, but until you've hit them, then you see them. So prime example would be, I got pulled over driving home the other week actually, from somewhere to pick something up, and my sat nav wasn't working properly. So I picked my phone up and I was trying to turn it off on my phone because my touchscreen on my camper wasn't working properly. And then as I was doing it, I looked to my left and I saw a copper, and I thought, fuck. So I dropped my phone, put my hand on the gear knob, and he couldn't, until now, this is what I realised, he couldn't see up into my van because he was in the car. Anyway, they drove in front of me and he said, follow us. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh, follow them. So they've come up to the window. Rule number 1, never tell a police officer why you've been pulled over, let them tell you. Do you know I pulled you over, mate? I was only on my mobile for 2 minutes. What? Right, we'll get to that. No, we pulled you over because you got no MOT. Oh. Okay, yep, no worries. Anyway, get through all of that, get my points and the fines and so on. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I can't work this out. This is a green light. This is a red light moment here. Where's the green light in this? So I'm sitting there, and then I ring my wife, and she's like, well, you know what the green light is, didn't you? I was like, what? She went, well, with no MOT, you're uninsured. You're always on your mobile. You probably would have hit someone or knocked someone off their bike, killed them. You'd have no insurance, would have lost the house. And I thought, green light, I'll see you when I get home. And drive home. and Matthew McConaughey, every time something bad happens now, I just think of Matthew McConaughey in my head, like, okay, what's the red light? So had a customer the other day, we were chatting, and he couldn't see what his green light was, because his red light was that he'd broken up with his girlfriend. She had kicked him out. He was in a bit of a dark place, had to move in with his dad. And, you know, he'd have his haircut once a week, he'd go gym once a week, he'd go gym every day, sunbed every day, make himself feel better, but he weren't getting anything. He was just plateau, absolute plateau. Anyway, he's on some medication. I said, well, they don't help to start off with, so he's gonna get himself off of them. And I was sitting there, Tuesday, week before last, and I get a message, yo. I was like, yeah? He's like, got my green light. I was like, shut up. He's like, I swear to God. He's like, go on then. He's like, well, the reason I got kicked out was because I needed to move back in with my dad, because my dad's got cancer and it's more time with me to do with him, and I wanted to get my own place eventually, and blah, blah, blah. I said, there you go. So what I was trying to get at is, with the favourite quote is obviously, you know, the 3 things, what you say, what you feel, and all of that. And then looking after yourself, look after yourself before you can look after anybody else. And then just because it's bad at the time doesn't mean there's always going to be a green light. And then with regards to the fasting, it's easy to do when you get your mindset right, because once your mindset's into it and you know what it does, it gets easier every time you do it. And you're always going to be hungry, right? Let's just have that right. Whether you do 24 hours, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, it will always creep in. The hunger hormone, it will be there. But you can get through it with discipline, the red light, the green light. So all of that intel is a whole. And that's how I base my whole fasting, is just that in a nutshell.
Yeah, because you're shaping your mindset around it all, aren't you? That's what you're trying to dilute and trying to build new habits.
Yes.
And that we talked about off life's a perception game. It's how we actually, if we put these lenses on to always see why life's happening to me, it's be victim mentality, and we're going to fall off a path. If we're always putting the glasses on to see where the little nuggets are, we're always going to be filled with optimism. You can see this on a day-to-day basis of how people are walking about. You can tell if they're optimistic. That they're normally the people who head up in clouds or looking about. The ones who down and out, are looking at the feet, aren't they?
Of course, 100%. And it's like we said before, if someone calls you a dickhead, doesn't mean you're a dickhead. It means you're a dickhead in their eyes, and if you don't like them because they've called you a dickhead, well then cut them out of your life. That's all it boils down to. And it's the same with everything. If you start fasting and someone says you're mental, that's because they can't do it themselves. That's all it boils down to. That's the key.
Yeah, I think that's it. Same with anything. Don't ever take anything personal.
No.
What anyone says, whether you're going on a venture or you've got to allow yourself to look stupid. Like, don't be bothered what other people think, because that's where you're going to make your mistakes, and that's where you're going to learn. Yeah. Everyone's too scared to make that.
I don't care what anybody thinks ever. I do stuff because I do it, and that's it. If I'm going to a birthday party and I'm not drunk, but I like the song, I'm going to dance to that song, whether you think I'm a dick or not. I'm going to get up on that dance floor and cut a rug because I don't care.
Quality.
And that is it. Because at the end of the day, if Dave's sitting over there with his pint in his hand looking at me thinking, God, look at Paige, he ain't even had a drink and he's dancing, what an idiot. No, mate, you're more than an idiot sitting there with that toxic stuff in your hand and not being able to enjoy yourself.
I talked about it with Sam on podcast at first because I don't sit there, and I've always admired people who just get up and dance, and there's every part of me, there's no jealousy, I'm genuinely happy, but when I want to go do it, my legs are like turn into concrete. And
really?
I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, because I used to get, when I was younger, we used to get up on stage and stuff, so I don't know if something's happened along the way I don't know. That's for me to find out.
Yeah, of course. That's what if you looked at my Instagram as well, like in the mornings when the sun's up,
yeah, I've seen
I bang a chat.
I was showing Zoe, and she was like,
and my neighbours must think I am mental. I've been out there peak winter doing an ice bath, doing kettlebells in my pants while the steam's coming off me, and then in the summer I'm in my pants with my hat or I'm in my tracksuit dancing to music. They must think Scott next door's an absolute nutcase, but it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And if you feel good, then everyone around you can feel good.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, isn't
it?
Yeah,
of course.
What's the biggest misconception that most people have about fasting?
They think that you're starving. That's what annoys me the most. That is what does me in when people do fast. When people don't do fast and have no idea about it, is the reality of that they think that you're starving yourself. No, I'm not starving myself. It's a healing process. It's allowing the body to chill out. Like I say, the abundance of food that we have, the shit abundance of food that we have, the Five Guys, McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Subways, Greggs.
Addictive foods.
Crap foods. No substance, no nutritional value. They're not good for you in any way, shape or form. But when you don't eat them, or you don't eat anything, you're a nutter. But yet, I'll use a different name instead of Dave. Eric, who's eating everything, constantly ill, constantly got a cold, constantly in bed, constantly got the flu, constantly having the shits. How come Scott ain't got it? Because I haven't got that crap in my body all the time to make my digestive system poor or my immune system low. Yeah. Like, that's the other thing. And I don't know how this even come about. I need to research it. But when you were younger, not me, my mum didn't do it to me, thank God. But a lot of my friends and people I know, that when they were younger, if they had like a stomach bug or they were unwell, an original Lucozade was like the cure. I just can't get my head around it now. I'm like, how is that the cure? Like, oh, you feel like shit? Have some sugar. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's always if it's a cold, she likes to boil lemonade. I'm like, don't even think about giving that to kids.
It's crazy.
The number one thing, like what I've seen with foods maybe to hold off is like cereals.
It's terrible.
But again, it's poured into kids. And there's another one, just as you were saying that about starvation, like the people think they're going to be starved. If you go back to old cartoons that we used to watch as kids, as soon as the belly rumbled, it'd show them like, oh, they're starving. So it were programming you for that moment. But when you realise what autophagy is doing, it's eating up the bad cells. So when your stomach's growling after 3-4 days of fasting, you're like, you know what it's doing. And that's what I've tried to do with my mind is when it's grumbling, it means that it's eating what it needs to eat.
Yeah, and then what will happen is when you hit the realms of keto, you'll start burping.
Yeah.
You have uncontrollable wind for no reason, but you haven't eaten anything. I was like, oh, why am I burping? Because your body's getting the cells, the energy from the fats, and that's what it's digesting and using as energy. And that's why you start to lose weight.
Yeah.
And then people are like, no. And 9 times out of 10, people who turn around and state, and sounds horrible, but people who couldn't give food up or state that you're starving yourself are overweight and fat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're never going to see someone who's shredded and ripped or thin and go, well, you don't eat, cool, you starve yourself. It's like, pot kettle black, mate. Look at the size of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always the bigger people that always say they couldn't give food up or they'll starve. But you don't starve. Like I said to you before at the beginning of the podcast, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, amino acids. And the amino acids are what get drawn, proteins, what get drawn out the muscle, which is the last form of energy we use.
Yeah.
After that, then you're in the realms of malnutrition. And it's very, very hard to get there. like very, very hard. That is starving yourself. And like you said before in the podcast, listen to your body. You will know, listen to your body, not your mind. You will know when the body needs to eat. You'll feel fatigued. You'll feel absolutely knackered. You have nothing. You'll get out of bed and feel like you literally need food. That's when your body's got... and that would be after you switched over to keto, not before. Before you switch over, you're just feeling a bit lame because it needs to make that switch, and it will do it.
What would be your advice? Because I know this is a lot of people who are getting interested into fasting who want to do it. The first time they get ketosis, what would be your advice? Because it's a weird feeling once you go through it.
You get like
because you do feel, for me, you feel really lightheaded. You feel weak. It's normally my legs that start. Really going weak, but I know if I push through it, it can be a matter of, it can be 1 to 2 hours, or it can last a bit longer.
I always say to people, if you're getting the lightheadedness, give yourself some salt water, and then you'll be able to take on hydration better. Because again, like we said before, when you drink salt water, it opens up the cell to allow the H2O into the cell to make you retain water better, which allows you to digest what you're about to digest, i.e. ketosis fats. So that's what I learned from Dr. Mindy and, I can't remember that geezer's name, Dr. Huberman. They turn around and say that quite a lot about drinking plenty of water, but when you get to a point where you're constantly urinating, that's your body saying you need some more sodium in to keep the water in. And then that's how you get through it. And you will, like we turned around and said, you will get lightheaded. You will, stand up and go, whoa. And that will pass eventually. And then you do your little salt water, take your salts in. I personally don't do them, but if you do feel like that, maybe have yourself a 0-calorie electrolyte. That won't break your fast if it's 0 calorie or 0.1, because it's calories that take you out of the fast. So 0.1 calorie electrolyte. And then if you really want to treat yourself, it's like a woohoo. Put it with a bit of hot water, and then it's like a nice flavoured drink. Better than a coffee and a water.
See, I'm glad you just said that with electrolytes, because I'm a plasterer by trade, and I do exert a lot of energy of doing it. When I've particularly had a heavy week doing, I've just done the coconut. I know it breaks it in some areas, it says it, but I feel like the coconut water only for me is very, because again it's tailored to different people, and when I have done just the water fast and you done the 9 day, and you're running on empty.
Coconut water is exactly the same as having a watermelon. They're more water than they are what they are. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, with the coconut water, again, it's high in fructose. So it will spike your glucose and insulin, which would take you out of the fast. So what I would suggest next time, if you do it, buy some nice natural zero. I'm sure you can get them, but mine was 0.1 calorie electrolytes, and just do a scoop of that in warm water. The flavours go fucking crazy. They go crazy in your mouth, and it gives you that little bit of, oh yeah, I can carry on for another day or two now. Other than, I'm dying for saying, I have a black coffee. Do you know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, fucking another one. But that's what I would say. And again, being a plasterer, it is taxing. I plastered in lockdown. Oh my God, how you do that as a job is next level. I was sweating my nuts off trying to get the layers right and the timings right for the next layer. I don't know. My mate's a plasterer, he come and looked, I've done an alright job. But like I say, for individuals, it's going to be different every way you fast. Whether you do 24, whether you do 8 and 16 and 8. Whether you do the OMAD, whether you do 24, whether you do 2, 3, 7, 5, however many. Everyone is going to experience something different at a certain time. And someone might experience something that someone doesn't even experience. Like I don't, and I've spoke to a few people. When I do a longevity fast, I crave something I've never had in my life. Yeah. Like last time it was lobster. I could not get the thought of lobster out. I was like, I really want to eat garlic lobster. Never had it. Never, ever, ever, ever in my life have I had garlic lobster, ever. And then the time before, when I'd done my last, so that was the 7-day one. And the time before, when I'd done my 5-day one with my wife, I broke it with some liver, with a tiny bit of drizzle of honey, avocado, and some eggs. And then, but the whole time in the fast, all I kept thinking about was sweet sour prawns. That's what I kept him. I was like, I really want, sweet chili prawns. I want sweet chili prawns. And then we went out and we had them, and now I love them. But I'd never had them before. I wouldn't even entertain a prawn. I was like, they're disgusting.
That's mad, isn't it?
Every time I do a fast, something different, my taste buds. But your taste buds change.
Yeah, they do.
Like, I couldn't stomach a Diet Coke. I can rarely have a Diet Coke now.
See, I don't want to spoil. It's something that bobbed up in mine the other day, because I used to love garlic prawns. But they said it's like in the animal kingdom.
The lowest.
Because they're bottom feeders and they eat all the, they have parasite, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Of course. But like I turned around and said to you before, it's one of them things, whereas we live in a world that I don't eat them all the time. Yeah. And it was something that I needed them there. Yeah. I was like, I've got to eat them. Yeah. And it's like the lobster, it's still crying out to me. I've not even eaten it yet, and I'm like,
I always wanted it, and when I tried it was a massive deflation.
That's what
I like the crab better than I do.
Like, oh, do you?
Yeah.
It was just something that happened. I got to that, I think I got to day 4, 5, and because I got day 2 was the headache phase, and then day 3 was I was sitting there in my van and I just got super happy, like unbelievably happy. I was like, here we go. So I ran my wife, told her I loved her, and I was really happy. And she was like, are you happy all the time? I'm like, yeah, but I said, saying today just triggered it massively. And I said, do you know what else? I was like, oh, so I really want lobster. She's like, what, you don't even like lobster? You didn't even had it. I was like, I just can't stop thinking about it. And the whole fast, that's all I kept me about. And I still ain't had it, but I will have it eventually. So I'm looking forward. So I was saying, on the 2nd of March, we do a 72 again. And then I'm undecided when I'm going to do my 21-day fasting. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what I want to try.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing a group of that then?
Yeah.
When you do
the second, no, that'll just be me on my own.
Are you just going out in solo?
Yeah, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to do it on my own. But there will be, what I might do actually, because I'm going to do the community fast once a month. So what I might do is I might start with the community, and then just carry on my own to get through it.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I'll have to be joining on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, the 2nd of March?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because also for other people just getting introduced to it, and I know I did it myself, is just going into intermittent fast first, and it's closing that window, and realising that you can do it. Once you start doing that, then that next leap's to go.
Well, that's it. I haven't eaten yet, and that was last night. 8:00 was my last meal.
Yeah.
And I'm not. And don't get me wrong. Am I thinking about eating while I'm on the journey home? Hell yes. I drive past Starbucks, or Greg's, and Macca's, and Burger King. But I am going to wait until I get home.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably have some eggs. I live off eggs.
Yeah.
I'm terrible for eggs. I love eggs. I probably have about 6 eggs a day.
Yeah. Old Eddie.
Yeah, mate. Oh, I can't bear that geezer. No. Don't even get me started on him.
No.
Don't you?
I liked him at the start, and then I'd gone again. I don't think his moral compass.
What did he do? What? Hold on a minute, Craig. Before we started the podcast, we spoke about people on the internet, i.e. Instagram, that will go on there as influencers, and it will be a byproduct of why are they on there? Go on, you can say it.
Yeah, their own personal gain.
Of course, to buy their products, for them to sell shit. And that's why, for me, I pray to God that I never feel the need to have to sell my soul to that crap.
I think that's where the people that are coming on the podcast, and it's the energy that I can feel. Like, you say people, you're drawn to your energy because you are what you say you are. Yeah. You're in alignment with who you are, and going out of that will just do yourself discredit.
Of course it will.
And that's
I've got no interest in making money off people.
No.
If I get money, happy days, but I will not sell my soul to get it. Yeah. Like, I won't tell someone to go and buy a certain electrolyte because they've endorsed me. Yeah. No. You buy the electrolyte you want. Just do your background check. 0.1 calorie per scoop. Sweet as a nut. Won't break you fast. Go and buy whatever one you want. Couldn't give two craps.
Yeah.
I promote the keto sticks that are we on. They're like £3. I'm not going to make any money out of them. I just told people to get them if they want to know any ketosis. You just we on them.
Yeah.
Like, I've got no interest in making money out of that. For me, if, like I say, get people on the fast, if they then want to change the way that they eat with regards to after the fast, then I'll happily join them up a plan because you're paying for my time to do that.
Yeah.
That's different. But when you've got people like Eddie who buy my ebook, don't eat this, do. Like, shut up, mate. Like, no disrespect to anybody that's had the jabs, but in COVID, he was pushing them motherfuckers like galore. And now he's like on the other scale of trying to heal you with fasting. No.
And it's not you're inviting people to come and try things where he's saying, don't eat eggs. It's more of a command that he's giving people and telling people how to live the life. And there's a lot of people who just like commands.
I won't tell anyone to not do anything. No. I will tell you what I do, like I do on my Instagram, how I live. Where I put pictures up of my omelets and my food, because
food looks banging, by the way.
Cheers, but this is it. It's if you want to break your fast and you have no idea how to do it, and you go like, Scott, I've been watching your Instagrams, mate. The omelets that you're breaking your fast with, they're banging. What's in them? I'll write you a list for free. Yeah. Just that's how I do it. Boom. Like, you ain't got to pay me for that. It's knowledge that I'm happy to hand over to someone to make them better their life. Yeah. And the thing is when you see him sitting there and he's eating his 6 boiled eggs with his tomato ketchup on it, I'm like, hold on a minute, geez. Tomato ketchup is full of sugar on your 6 boiled eggs with your liver and your honey. Like we said, no real person is going to live like that who has young children. And how old are his kids? His kids are in their late 20s and 30s. Yeah. So he hasn't got that responsibility anymore. We have a responsibility to our children to show them not too fast because they're children, but how to live after a fast. So when we break it, what we eat, our broccoli, our lettuce, our cucumber, our sweet corn, and da-da-da. And you probably have people who go, well, that ain't nutritious, It's like, no, I know it isn't, but it's for our kids.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing it for. I know what I can eat, but I'll try and get them to eat other stuff. That's what I say, my wife.
Yeah. But you're opening, through doing all this, you're opening doors anyway to all them possibilities, aren't we?
We can only hope, can't we?
So, yeah. No, thank you for coming on. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, not really. It's been enjoyable. I like your content. I've listened to a lot of people that you've had on the show as well. Just, if you're interested in my fast, get in the community. It would be cool to have any of your followers on there. Yeah. And like I say, it's free, and I'll just guide you through it. And not just me guide them through it, but you for doing fast on there, other people. I've got my mate Pat from East Ham, London. Didn't even know he was following me. He reached out to me the other day. He's joining in with the 72. He's been doing 7-day fasts every month. So there's a lot of people on there that have done them. A lot of people on there that have started doing them, and a few people on there that haven't done them. So they can all take bits off of each other. And then where I've done quite a few longevity ones now and researched the crap out of it, and you'll come on with the 7 days, we can hopefully guide them as well with how to break it as well. Because like I said, that's the important thing, is breaking it.
Yes. I definitely. Yeah. What I'm liking most about what's going on, having different guests on, and you're all doing the same thing, you're building communities within yourself. And it's only built upon experiences, new experiences. Everyone's getting to chime in. And that's what I really like about it, because that's where I feel we've lost this connection. It's everyone says the same things all the time within the comments on Instagram, most high profile, and it's just like NPCs. But when you're building these communities, going off the back of it, just like I did on Charlie's, the support and the love that people are showing each other when they're really having them down days where they're thinking about jumping out of it, they're all like picking each other up and saying, we've been here. And that's something that this world's been lacking. And I think this is why I think I'm drawn to you and I'm drawn to all these other people, is because I can see it. I can see what you're all trying to do.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure than... I say a year, because that's more plausible. In a year, to have 1,000 people doing a 72-hour fast. Yeah, that would be incredible. Because again, I've not gained anything out of it because it's free. It's the fact that I've got 1,000 people all wanting to better their life with the fact of they want to give their digestive system a rest and heal. And then once them, like I said with the last 6, I'll do us a favour, just write me a review, just so I can say, because without a review from them people, I'm nothing.
Yes.
So without them, I'm nothing. So with the next 17 people that I've got to do it, no, it's 18 with me. So without the 16 people, so it's doubled, that I can put them up and people can flick them. And I'm going to put them up. With these 16, I'm going to put them up in pictures so people can read them properly. And then hopefully it goes again and again, because they'll experience something that they never thought they would experience, and they go, God, that's what 3 days of not eating feels like. I've got to tell Jason. I've got to tell Sandra. Follow Scott because he's doing these community fasts now. It's 3 days. All right, it's tough, but you feel great at the end of it.
It's the overspill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I know you're even saying 17 people. It's not, is it? It's if they've all got families within their...
That want to try it,
like 40. You could times it by 4, and then the more people they interact with, it'll snowball for you. And I can really see
it'll be great if it does. It'll be
massively.
great because, like I say, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything not to eat.
No.
All it's going to cost. The crazy thing is, it costs nothing to not eat, and it doesn't even cost you your health because it makes you better.
Well,
that's the craziest thing.
You're hitting a great target market in cost of living crisis.
Yeah, that's it. You can't pay for your shopping. Fuck it. Don't eat for 72 hours, and it makes you better. That's it. No, it's been good.
No, thank you for coming on.
Cheers, Craig. I appreciate it.
Cheers, buddy.